Uh-oh.
To fight and stepping through any of those girls really, so we'll see what comes back, we'll see what happens this year, but I'm ready to step in and beat both those girls again.
It's what Katie Taylor had to say on the heels of her rematch win over Amanda Serrano. A few thoughts. If there's going to be a trilogy, if there is going to be a third fight with Amanda Serrano, I feel like it should be for 12 3-minute rounds, just to give it something new, something extra.
That could be a problem, though.
Because it's Amanda Serrano's side that wants it to be for 12 threes, not Katie. And if you're Katie and you won the first 2 fights, why would you acquiesce to Amanda's demands for a third?
That could be a problem, though.
Though as a consumer, as a boxing fan, and from the boxing fan's perspective, if you're going to try to sell me on a third fight, there does need to be something new, something different in the third that we didn't see in the first 2. The first 2 were for 10 twos. So if there's going to be a third, make it for 12 threes.
Just something to think about.
And if for some reason Katie and Amanda can't get it together for a trilogy, for a third fight, there is always a trilogy with Chantel Kimran, who says, I've been ready to beat Katie Taylor again since last November. 1-1 in case anyone forgot. Chantel won the first fight, Katie won the second. This will be the tiebreaker if they do fight again.
A few things have changed.
Chantel is no longer trained by Jamie Moore and Nigel Travis, and she is no longer a matchroom fighter. She signed to Queensberry. So maybe you could do it as part of the Matchroom versus Queensberry sequel, as they do mean to stage another tournament just like the first one. Maybe this could be a part of it.
Chantel would be representing Queensberry now.
Chantel is the younger fighter of the two and the naturally bigger fighter of the two, so she's got that working for her. The time is on her side, and she does have size. She does have power. Though to Katie Taylor's credit, she has seemingly been able to turn back the hands of time. In the Amanda Serrano rematch, the Chantel Cameron rematch,
she still got it.
And some would argue that there is more of a precedent for a Cameron trilogy than a Serrano trilogy, because Katie Taylor's already 2-0 with Amanda, whereas Chantel,
they're 1-1 with each other.
I see the logic. It's just that a Cameron trilogy doesn't pay as good as a Serrano trilogy. So we'll see which trilogy materializes. If it's a Chantel Cameron trilogy, there would be no reason for Amanda Serrano, in that scenario, to stay at 140 pounds, so she could theoretically return to the featherweight division, where she still holds the WBA and WBO titles, at which point she could schedule a unification match with Nina Menke, reschedule the fight that they were supposed to have some months ago, with the difference being that Nina Menke is a champion now.
She's got the IBF title. If Amanda fights her now, it's a fight against champions. It's a unification match.
It would be. And I still very much like Amanda Serrano's chances in that fight. What would service as both a rebound fight and a unification match for Amanda in that scenario, perhaps en route to a Sky Nicholson showdown.
Sky's WBC champion.
Amanda's options for a big fight, a meaningful fight, are not limited to Katie Taylor and chasing down Katie Taylor for a third fight. She can always have that showdown with Sky, which isn't as big as a Taylor fight, but it's still a big fight unto itself. and it would afford her the chance to become a 2-time undisputed featherweight champion.
She has that option.
And what would be perhaps an even easier fight to negotiate than another Katie Taylor fight, because Amanda Serrano is the clear A-side to Skye Nicholson. There's no debate there. There's no argument. Katie and Amanda may be on somewhat equal footing with each other, but Skye Nicholson is not on equal footing with them. She's definitely not on equal footing with Amanda. So if what Skye really wants is her crack at the apple, you've got to play ball. You've got to acquiesce to Amanda's demands, whatever they are.
If Amanda wants that fight inside of a coconut on a palm tree,
On the island of Puerto Rico, Skye's got to play ball. Skye's got to acquiesce to Amanda's demands, whatever they are. Because she's the A-side. A-side calls the shots. A-side makes the rules.
a potential scenario in a situation where Katie fights Chantel again and Amanda returns to the featherweight division, they could always do that.
And that's a fight where the stage is set. It's been set for something like 2 years. Since having gone pro, all Skye Nicholson's been talking about is her desire to fight Amanda. I say give her what she wants.
I think Skye gets beat up. I think Skye loses.
She doesn't. She likes her chances, and I won't begrudge her confidence, her ambition. This is not Sarah Mahfood. This is not Diana Vargas or Raven Chapman or any of those other girls.
Said that before.
Careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. If Katie Taylor goes in the direction of a Chantel Cameron trilogy, Amanda might return to featherweight and give Skye what she wants.
He's put his own stipulations on it, saying, he's going to demand, 24-hour drug testing all the way leading up.
I'll put my predicaments on it. We won't be using VADA. I'll be using the people I want to use, because for some reason Bill Haney keeps on saying VADA, 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 VADA. It's kind of strange to me. Why can't I use USADA or any other organization? It seems a little fishy to me that they love VADA and VADA loves them. I mean, it's just weird. I mean, if nobody's asking those questions, I wonder why.
Do you feel like there's something awry at VADA?
No, well, I just feel like they're too entangled. I mean, it's a conflict of interest, truly. I know in my heart of hearts I never took steroids in my life. And to this day, I'll go down till I die saying I never did. So, to me, that really struck a nerve in me, and really just tarnished my victory and made it into a no contest. I mean, just all the things that, I wore forward. Like, that was my best victory, and they took it away. So, yeah, I'm a little salty about it, and I'll never use VADA again, because to me that's fishy. I tested negative all the way through, and all of a sudden I'm positive, after I beat him. Come on. And then all of a sudden his freaking brother posted way before everybody even knew that I was going to test positive. Nobody's asking these questions, and nobody's caring. So it's like, it's just absurd and weird to me.
So Ryan has basically gone back to blaming VADA for his positive test. That's what he's doing. He's trying to implicate them.
Didn't he say it was contaminated supplements?
Now he's going back to blaming VADA, claiming that it's strange. It's weird for Bill Haney to insist on VADA testing.
What's weird about it?
For years now, VADA has handled most of the anti-doping testing in the sport of boxing. There's nothing weird about it. It's to the point to where they came up with a program alongside the WBC, the Clean Boxing Program.
Not USADA, not drug-free sport, and not any other anti-doping agency. By now, you'd have to be living under a rock to think that it's weird that anyone would want VADA to handle the anti-doping testing. That's pretty run-of-the-mill.
What's weird is using the more expensive USADA that doesn't handle most of the testing in boxing. That's what's weird. Why would you want to use them? What's weird is going back to blaming VADA for what is your positive test after you just told the world it came from contaminated supplements. That's literally what you said not but a few months ago. Oh, now it's VADA's fault again?
It wasn't the Democrats?
The lizard people? The Illuminati? The guys at Bohemian Grove?
It wasn't them?
While Ryan is trying to implicate VADA, basically blame them for his positive test, need I remind you that that's not the only test that came back positive. The New York State Athletic Commission conducted their own test, and that one tested positive for Osterin too.
They don't have any ties to Victor Conti or Devin Haney.
That test was conducted separate from the VADA testing. That's a different entity entirely. And there was Osterin in that sample, the same as the VADA samples. Major details that Ryan Garcia deliberately doesn't address, deliberately leaves out.
But go on and try to make it VADA's fault.
Just makes it that much more obvious that you're lying. You knew exactly what you were doing. What you lie about gives away what you're trying to hide. hide.
Why would VADA need to set you up?
They collected those samples before the fight took place. And before the fight took place, Devin Haney was the massive favorite going in. So why would they need to set you up?
It's a stupid theory.
And the New York State Athletic Commission would have had to have been in on it too, since their test came back positive too. You'd have to either be too lazy, too stupid, or too biased to believe Ryan Garcia's story and all of its glaring inconsistencies.
What I think? He miscalculated his cycle. When he was coming off of whatever it was he was coming off of, he made a miscalculation and he got caught.
Very simple. The simplest explanation is usually the right one, and it's likelier than not that you're just another dirty fighter that got caught, then all of these powers converged to set you up.
Me personally, I see no need for it. Ryan Garcia destroyed him, and that's the bottom line. So I think we have to make the best fights possible. And there's fighters here like Teofimo. There's fighters here that we can match up Ryan with anyone and make a terrific event.
I was going to ask you, Teo's right here. Obviously, that was one of the fights I said I wanted to see the most in 2025. Conversations, possibly. I know that he's a little bit intertwined in something complicated at the moment, but obviously, if and should he be free later in the year, maybe a fight between those two?
Yeah, absolutely. If they're the best at the moment, if that's what people want to see, we have to make it. I mean, look, I sound like a broken record here, but I was once a fighter, and I'm a promoter now, but I think like a fighter. I want to see the best fight the best.
You've once again heard it from the horse's mouth. That's not the first time that Oscar De La Hoya has said he sees no need for a second fight between Ryan and Devin. What looks to me like they're running. Ryan Garcia's fans don't want to hear this, and they don't have to. If this bothers you, just go somewhere else. To some channel that will pander to what you like and what you want.
Because I won't. I don't.
No, if you want to know what I think, and you're here, so I'll assume that you do, yeah, I think Oscar's running from the rematch, and I think Ryan is too. How could you say that there's no need for a rematch, there's no need for a second fight?
After Ryan tests positive for Osterin, that in and of itself sets the stage for a rematch.
Just that by itself. The controversial nature of the outcome, and that the outcome has since been overturned, that by itself is precedent enough for a second fight, but if nothing else, because a second fight would be bigger than the first one was. So why would a promoter walk away from that, leave all that money on the table?
Why would a fighter over a guy he claims to have destroyed?
So go destroy him again for more money. What's the problem? You don't care about belts and you don't care about legacy, you only care about money. Well, there's more money in a second fight than there was in the first one.
And you hear what Ryan is saying. Ryan doesn't want to be tested by VADA. Oscar doesn't see a need for a second fight.
The same Oscar De La Hoya that's in the process of staging a Zepeda versus Farmer rematch. That's what the rumor mill is spinning, that they're in the process of doing another fight between William Zepeda and Tevin Farmer. You're telling me that deserves a rematch, but this doesn't, even though this is bigger for much more money.
Devin Haney won more rounds against Ryan Garcia than Tevin Farmer did against William.
At this point, the only proponents of what Oscar is saying or what Ryan is saying are tribalists.
Go be tribal by your goddamn self.
Go be proud and all that other crap by yourself.
I don't care.
I don't care what you and Oscar have in common. I don't care what you and Ryan have in common. I don't care if you fly the same flag. I don't care if you sat behind him in math class. I'm gonna call a spade a spade.
It's not for love of Devin Haney.
I just have a very low tolerance for stupidity, for stupid shit. And if the only reason you're siding with Ryan or Oscar is because of some sense of pride or some sense of solidarity, yeah, go be solid by your goddamn self. Stop trying to sell me on this idea.
Enough already.
And what bothers me most about tribalists of every denomination is they always insist on hanging around people that aren't even part of their tribe.
I don't care about that shit you care about.
I'm here for boxing. I'm a boxing fan, here to see boxing matches. I would like to see this one. If you don't, hit the bricks!
Hit the road!
It's not complicated. We've seen any number of pointless rematches that didn't deserve a sequel. This one does.
So let's see it.
Or is it that you're afraid that Ryan basically caught lightning in a bottle and lightning won't strike twice?
That he won't be able to do what he did again on an even playing field.
Are you scared? Oscar mentioned a Teofimo Lopez fight as an alternative to a Devin Haney fight. What struck me as a deflection. You're trying to deflect. Take attention away from the Devin Haney rematch to focus on something else that may or may not happen.
Teofimo has his own problems. He's all wrapped up in this situation with Top Rank and trying to achieve free agency from them.
Being honest with you, I don't look at Lopez versus Garcia as being bigger than Haney versus Garcia because Lopez versus Garcia has no backstory.
There's no controversy there. There's no unfinished business. Teofimo isn't that big a draw. Not by himself. He's never been on pay-per-view. Never sold more than 5,000 or close to 5,000 tickets.
Devin sold more than that, much more than that, with little old Regis Prograis. 13,000 tickets sold, over 13,000. Not to say that Devin Haney is a huge draw, because he isn't, but he is a bigger draw than Teofimo. He's been on pay-per-view more times than Teofimo, and he's the one who's got unfinished business with Ryan, not Teofimo.
The fight with Devin is bigger than the fight with Teofimo, and that's the bottom line. So for Oscar De La Hoya, the promoter,
who's supposed to want to promote the biggest show for the biggest money, to try to move away from that, to use Teofimo as an alternative, that communicates to me apprehensiveness, fear. That communicates to me you're running. Most of all now that Turkey wants to make that rematch. His Excellency has a wish list of sorts. 5 major fights that he would like to bring together in the new year, and Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney 2 is one among them. No mention of Ryan Garcia versus Teofimo Lopez, not saying that he can't be persuaded or maybe swayed to make that fight with Ryan and Teofimo, but the one he wants to make is the one with Devin.
Ryan and Devin. Oscar should be jumping all over that.
Because Devin is not otherwise preoccupied with anything, and he's a free agent, so you don't have to work with any other promoter for it like you would with Teofimo, who's still signed to Top Rank.
Devin isn't signed to anybody.
Think about the breakdown. Turkey LL Sheik would be footing the bill for the Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney fight, so Golden Boy doesn't have to. You still get your cut, you still get your percentage of Ryan's purse because he's still your fighter, but you don't have to spend any of your own money.
Turkey's paying the best money in boxing right now. He'd be paying some of that money to Ryan, and you get a piece of it at no cost to you.
And what you're talking about is a smaller fight that may be more difficult to negotiate because lest we forget, Teofimo is a pain in the ass. He's already had at least 2 fights fall through in the last 6 months. The Brian Norman fight, the Subriel Matias fight, over what are his financial demands.
It's my understanding that this kid wanted something in the neighborhood of $3 million to $3 million plus for Subriel Matias. What would he want for Ryan?
Do you think that Teofimo Lopez would be comfortable being the B-side to Ryan Garcia? Because that's what they're going to do. They're going to try to A-side Teofimo, and you have to wonder if he's comfortable being the B-side to Ryan.
They're running from the Haney rematch.
They talk to you about Devin, and you bring up somebody else, it's because you're running from Devin, and that may seem strange to you because you're not that bright.
You're kinda stupid.
Don't expect me to be stupid with you. It's very obvious to me they're running from the rematch. As to why that is, I'll leave such judgments up to you.